Jared pulling Frono's Photo.com, and it's time for the Raw Edit 44 of the week, sponsored by Drobo. Yeah, so now it's time for me to do my edit, then show you Adam's edit, and then put ours next to each other to see what we got. You guys have done a great job. I'm still trying to figure out the proper days to put up this Raw Edit, as well as pointing out the best photos or some of the interesting ones that you guys edited. I think I'm going to start doing that on Saturdays, either putting up this Raw Edit on Saturday. Being that I already put up 2 videos on Fridays, I may switch putting up these Raw Edits on Saturday, along with some of the videos that you guys posted in response to this Raw Edit, and also some of the photos that I thought I should point out, because this is not the easiest file to edit, as we are going to find out. I've seen some of the edits that people have done, but yeah, I'll do my best in like about 5 minutes of time to be comfortable with this file where I want it. Then we'll see what Adam did. I know that he did something longer, a much longer video, because I think he took it into Photoshop, but he wanted to spend more time doing it. I just want to get through it and put it up. So, you know what? I think about it, like, in the future, for types of photos like this is not something that I always do. Portraits like this, I do a lot of the candids and the behind-the-scenes stuff, which I like my edits for those. But sometimes my edits aren't as strong on portraits like this, and I need to learn a little bit more to go into more depth of what I should do in Photoshop, or what are some other options that I could do in Lightroom. So I'm still trying to figure out for myself what is the proper thing to learn. So I should probably ask Gavin Hoey what he would do to a file like this, and see how he would do it in Photoshop. You know what? That's a good idea. I'm going to give Gavin an email and see what he comes up with. Because I could see in the future doing my type of edit and then sending something like this to somebody and being like, how would you do this? And seeing what they do, because certain people are professionals in their field, and I like to find the people that do the best job at what they do and try to bring them on to give me some education on how I could do it better. All right, so let's just dive away. Well, first thing I notice is that dust that likes to live in my camera is there, which I'm going to get rid of that way, but I want to get rid of it the professional way, so I'm going to do that soon. Boom, contrast. Hi, Colleen, how are you doing today? I'm good, Jared, how are you? I'm good, Colleen, how are you? I'm good. I know, she's not Mr. Hanky. I want to warm it up a little bit, pop out some of that green, boom. Is it too green? Is it too magenta? Is it too magenta right now? Yes. No, right there. I know Adam showed me something that I could do to the eyes to make them pop. I already forget what he told me. I don't want to go with too much fill light, usually, because it just... So I'm going to fill back in with blacks. That's not bad. And she's got that skin thing going where she's got a lot of makeup going. So I'm just going to pull back slightly on my Clarity. Let's go in here and just clean up some quick stuff. I personally, here's my thought. Some of you are going to call it lazy, and other people will totally understand. When it comes to portraits and things like that, or weddings, I'm not a big fan of touching up imperfections that you have, because they're imperfections that you have. That's you. I think that there's been a false sense of how you should edit things based off of the cosmetic magazines and the ads that we see, how they're so airbrushed and touched up. And I know that Britain has the thing going where you can't, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can't touch up ads or digital photos or something and use them in advertising without saying it. I don't fully know, but I think I've read something like that. But that seems like a great idea, because we're getting a false sense of how people look by looking at these edits that just slim people, do this, do that. It's over the top. That's why, for me, I like to stick to keeping the person as they are. You know, if there's like a blemish or something that you can take out, you can take it out. But going far and like slimming and taking away chins and doing this and that, to me, that's just making it, that's like cropping an image to me. And I'm not, that's not lazy. I'm just telling you like it is. That's my thing. I don't want to go and change the way that the image is in terms of taking something out that is there because somebody just doesn't like the way their eye looks or their skin, but that's how it is. I mean, to some extent, there's some things that you can do. But hey, back to editing. Yeah, I mean, her eyes pop. Look how sharp that is with that 300-2.8. I'm just going to move the clarity. I just want to see what's going on here, really. I'm sure people are using the smoothing brush and things like that. You've got your tone curve here. We can play with the highlights. I don't like that because it just blows out her face a little bit. I don't want to do that either. Medium. Let's see what happens when we go to strong. Oh, boy. Strong tone curve just really just made my skin go woohoo. Because that was medium. And then I went, pow! Yeah, she's looking good. She is still staring at me. She is looking at me like, hey, Jared, what's your phone number? Well, you actually already have it, Colleen, so don't ask. No, yeah. No, I'm actually liking where I've gotten this. I like it's vibrant. It's bright. Her hair is beautiful. Her eyes are great. Sure, we could go in here and do some touching up. Adam showed me something where he painted around the eyes and then brightened up that area. Let's see what happens if I just try to do over here. Oop, too far. Just a little bit. Just a little bit of happy paintings right in here. Let's see. With it, without it. With it, without it. With it. Oh, I could also do this over here. I could use this right here and it will turn it off. Gone. Good. Gone. Good. Yeah, that made a world of difference. So I'm going to go with this for now. Let's get back and see if I can do any more touching up. With the yellow, no. My images tend to be a little more yellow. It's probably the screen, but here we go. I like this. I love the out of focus, blown out area in the back. It's drawing me right into her, and she's looking good staring at me. So hey, Adam, it's time for your edit, and then we'll be back to put them next to each other. See ya.
Adam Lerner, and welcome to this week's Raw Edit. And today we have a really, really nice portrait shot by, you guessed it, Jared Polin the Fro. This was part of I think an educational video that he was making, and he was working with this model, and he did some portraits. And, you know, it's really a stunning, stunning look here. The thing that I love about this is the color gradient that he got from blowing out the background. And he was shooting with his 300 millimeter f2.8 at f2.8, and you know it's just kind of remarkable how the delineation between the foreground and the background is just so pronounced to the point where it really looks like, you know, you can't even tell what's going on in the background. And the green of the background against kind of the reddish color of her hair and the green, you know, in her eyes, kind of picking that up is really, really neat. So, you know, there's a couple of things I want to do here. One of the things I definitely want to do is I want to bring out more of that color in her eye. I want to tie her eyes more into the background here. I want to give it some more pop. I really want to get it to be like, you know, more contrast. I want to work on her skin a little bit. She's a young girl. She's got really nice skin, and it looks like there's maybe you know, some foundation makeup on here. And, you know, this is one thing that I try to tell models when I'm working with them, you know, or if I'm working with a makeup artist, to try to make sure that the makeup is applied in the same kind of a lighting scheme that you're going to be shooting in. So that if you're going to be shooting outside natural light, you want to try to get the makeup done in natural light as well, because if you try to put too much makeup on, it's really going to show. And this is not a critique. This is not anything to diss this beautiful girl here. I'm just saying that I'm probably going to employ a technique to try to minimize the look of that on her face, because I really want to bring out her natural beauty here. So very first thing we're going to do here is we're just going to pump up the exposure just a little bit here, and I want to add some fill. Just something like about there. And I'm just going to just bring in my blacks, and I'm masking, you know, both exposure and blacks when I'm doing this, because I want to look at under and overexposed areas. And I'm just going to pump up some contrast right there, and just look at those greens. My God, amazing stuff. All right, clarity. Let's see. We can bring in some clarity here. Now, the clarity is only going to accentuate a lot of what I was talking about before. Bringing down the clarity is going to really soften things up. I don't really like the look of this, so I'm going to just bring the clarity up to about there. I'm just going to add some highlights here just to give it some sheen. I'm not going to touch any split toning and sharpening. Let's go and grab her eye right here, nice and sharp. I'm just going to bring that in. I start to see the detail getting sharper, and I'm going to mask it off so that I sharp only the edge detail. I don't want to sharpen textures, just edges. So something like that. So we'll look at the before and we'll look at the after. It's kind of a subtle difference. Now, the other thing I think that we could do is we could just warm this up a tad. Okay, so I'm just going to add some warmth to my color temperature here. I'm just going to keep bringing it up until I like the way it looks. And I'm going to kind of leave it at about that. Okay, very nice. Now, the other thing I was talking about too was trying to tie in her eyes into the background. So I'm going to use the brush tool by hitting the letter K, and that brings me into the brush tool module. And I'm also going to zoom in, so I'm going to hit the Z key because I really want to get into her eyes. And I'm going to use the navigator so I can look at them both. And I'm going to use, from the menu here, I'm going to grab Iris Enhance because it has a lot of really nice settings. And I'm also going to use the O key so that I can see where I'm overlaying this brush. Okay, so you hit the O key, and then as you brush in there, you see the areas where you overlay the iris enhancement are going to show, because I only really want to do it in the areas of her iris. So I'm just going to continue to do this like this, painting it in there, and make sure we get all the areas. I'm going to move to her other eye. I'm going to do the same thing. And we're going to continue in here like this. Continue in here like this, like that. All right, that looks pretty cool. And let's see. I'm just going to just a little more touch up in here, just like that. Okay, I'm going to hit the O key to turn off the overlay, and I'm going to zoom out. And already you can see the difference. I mean, it's a pretty stunning look. If we go to the before and we go to the after, you know, it's kind of exaggerated. You know, so maybe we could just split the difference. So hit the K tool again. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to select the pin that has that overlay in it, and I'm just going to go to the exposure, and I'm just going to bring that down just a tad, because again, I don't want it to be too much. I want it to look semi-natural, and I say semi-natural because obviously it's an enhancement. The other thing that we might want to do while we're in here is just, you know, whiten her eyes a little bit, just get rid of some of this little veiny stuff. So I'm gonna close this out, and I'm gonna reopen it so I can get a new tool here, and I'm gonna select teeth whitening. And this kind of just has like an automatically a nice effect. It brings down saturation, it adds some exposure. I'm going to hit the O key, and I'm just going to paint this in here like that. And you're thinking, like, why are you making her eyes red? Well, I'm not. I'm actually whitening them, and we'll see that once I remove the overlay. But I'm just doing this specifically so that I can see the areas that I'm doing this in and try not to whiten other areas to make them look a little bit harsh. So I'm just going to paint this in here like this. Just something like that. You know, and look, this is a test. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll keep this like this. Maybe I won't. But I'm just experimenting with this because, you know, we want to just bring out all of her natural beauty and maybe just do some minor enhancements. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's not like we're retouching this thing like crazy. And to be honest, you know, she's really pretty and doesn't really need a lot of enhancing. But you know what? We're just going to do it. Okay. You know, I'm doing this, you know, rather quickly, but I'm trying to get it as close to where I want it as I can. All right, so let's just do that. We'll hit the O key, and we will close on out of here. I'm going to hit the K, and I'm going to hit the Z, and look at that. You know, it makes her eyes pop a little bit more compared to that. I'm pretty happy with that, actually, okay? Now, one thing that I was thinking about is going into Photoshop, and I'm going to try something to try to minimize the look of the foundation on her skin here, because the thing is, like, I don't want to reduce the clarity to lose the clarity of her eyes and her lips and her hair. So we're going to take this into Photoshop, okay? So I'm going to go in, yeah, that's probably right. I'm going to go into Photo, Edit in, and I've got Photoshop CS4. and I'm going to edit a copy with Lightroom adjustments. So that means that I'm pretty much going to keep all the Lightroom adjustments that I have here, and I'm just going to take it into Photoshop so that I can apply this technique that I'm hoping will work. Okay, so now we have the image in Photoshop, and I want to just try to apply a filter to just minimize some of the texture in her skin, but leave, you know, everything else nice and sharp. So what I'm first going to do is I'm going to make a duplicate of this layer by going Command J. And basically now I have an identical layer right there. I'm also going to zoom into like 50%. And I'm going to kind of just go onto her face like that so I can really see what I'm working with right here. Okay, so now we're going to go to filter, and we're going to go to noise, and we're going to go to reduce noise. Okay, and I want to do something kind of drastic here. I'm going to stay in the basic setting. I want to lose all details. Okay, I want to so preserving details, sharpening details, 0. Reducing color noise, let's bring that up. We'll bring it up to here. And strength, I'm going to go for like maximum at 10, okay? Now, you can see that it looks really kind of artificial over here, but we're going to do something about that. So I'm just going to hit OK. I'm going to let this apply. It's just going to take a moment here. And, you know, we'll be able to really compare the difference very quickly. Just takes a minute, just takes a minute. All right, look at the difference here, okay? If we turn off this layer, all right, make it invisible, you can see the difference between this and this. Now, we've lost a lot of detail in her hair and her eyes and her lips and whatever, which I don't think is a good thing, okay? So I want to regain that detail, okay? But I like what happened with her skin. And it's a little bit drastic, but I want to stay with this for now, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to use the eraser tool. I'm going to hit the E key, and let's see, you know what, let's make the eraser, we'll keep it this size, and I'm just going to erase, okay, and you can see what's happening here. Oh, her eye came back because I'm just erasing this top layer, okay, and yeah, we're going to stay in this eraser tool, and I'm just going to erase areas that, you know, I want to retain the sharpness. I want to retain the sharpness of her eyes, of her eyebrows, her eyelashes, of course. Okay, we're going to continue to keep all this detail. I want her lips to be nice and sharp. So I'm going to bring those back over there. And, you know, I'm just doing this kind of in a rough kind of way. And let's see, I'm going to reduce my brush tool because I want to get her nose ring back in detail. I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm going to bring this back and make this tool huge because I'm going to kind of work on her hair now. So let me let's bring this back down to 25%, and let's just continue to erase. And we're just going to erase all this stuff in here because we want this to be sharp. You know, it's kind of a time-consuming process, but, you know, I feel like this image is worth it. So I'm just erasing and erasing, and I'm just really going on her hair here because I don't want that to be softened. All right. And let's see, we're just going to keep going. I like all these little kind of stray hairs. They look cool. Like that. Okay. And, you know, for the purpose of the video, I'm going to leave it at that, okay? So, look, here's the layer, here's the original file with the layer off, here's the enhanced version, and the difference is subtle, okay? But we'll see when we bring it back to Lightroom. So I'm going to hit save, and this will bring this image back into Lightroom for us. It's going to write a TIFF, and it'll make an edited TIFF copy for Lightroom. All right, we'll go back into Lightroom, and if we go down into our film strip here, we've got this edited TIFF. Which one is it here? Let's see. I think this is it. Yep. All right. So this is the edited TIFF, the one that we just brought up. And let's see. This is the original file. So let's just bring these two and let's just showcase these two together. Okay. And you know, we'll bring this in over here. And you can really see the difference. You can see how like much softer and smoother her skin looks, but her eyes and her hair are still nice and sharp, okay? So this is the one that we've decided to choose here, and this is going to be my final edit, I believe. So, you know, today was a little bit longer. We employed some other techniques here, but I just wanted to show you guys the possibilities of what you can do when you see things that you want to try to correct. You know, you can often take things into Photoshop and apply, you know, a duplicate layer and just mask that layer onto the original file so that you can get the results that you need. So that's it for now, and let's go off and see what Jared's got.
And we're back. Adam, what did you just say about my photo?
It looks a little bit pink.
Pink? I think yours looks a little flat and green. How about that?
Flat and green.
But hey, again, this just points out the fact that it's your edit. What is your edit, you know? What makes you like yours and what makes me like mine? And people are going to like mine, people are going to hate mine. People are going to like yours, people are going to hate yours. It's just personal preference again. I think your eyes are great in her. I think they're great. It just seems a little flat to me. I would like to see your eyes switched over to mine for her, but I don't know. I went a little more punchy, a little bit more vibrant in mine, and it seems that yours is on a little bit of a flatter side. And for everybody out there, I am not taking knocks at Adam. He's going to sit here and tell me why he did what he did in a second, and then tell me what he feels is lacking in mine. So this is a conversation. This is how we learn. This is how we get better at what we're doing. It's not an attack on Adam, and he's not going to be attacking me. So don't take it the wrong way, please. Go ahead, Adam.
I was going to attack you.
Oh, I thought you were. I was going to say, are you yawning?
Yeah, this is no. I see what you did. I think you added quite a bit of magenta or red or something. Because even, you know, if you look at her lips on your edit comparatively, excuse me, the only thing about the reddish bit that bugs me is the highlights that are on the side of her face and under her eyes. It just seems like a little bit tinted there, which is a little bit kind of weird. And I'm also noticing like the background of yours maybe looks a little blotchy. From maybe messing with the HSL. I don't know what you did there.
I didn't touch it.
No? Okay,
No.
it could just also be the screen flow.
It could be the screen flow. You know, I didn't actually touch anything in the saturation to think about pulling out red in there, but look what it just did.
Right, see that's a little better.
I think a tween.
Well, what did you do to get the reddish? Was that color temperature and tint? Or
you know
hue?
what? I honestly think all I did was I bumped my contrast. It's like 96. You can see that.
Yeah.
I think it's more contrast. I played with the fill light, so maybe that's the blotchiness coming out is because of the fill light.
I think it's the contrast, actually, because
but-
I think it basically oversaturated the blacks, you know, the black components of those color pixels. But yeah, before and after, I mean, it's got a really nice punchy look, you know, it makes her gaze more intense.
Well, see, this is what happens if you pull back on the contrast.
Uh-huh.
What do you think of that?
I think it's good.
And that's too much.
It's a little bit much for my taste.
Yeah, it is. You know, I'm gonna leave it. I absolutely see what you are saying, and I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna go back and just look at it for myself and see what works out. But yeah, I saw how I just pulled back on contrast. To me, it looks flat, but maybe to other people that could have been the way, you know?
Right.
The Goo Goo Dolls. But, yeah, I mean, what you did with the eyes are really cool. I think our backgrounds are pretty similar. I don't know if they look blotchy.
I think mine's a little bit smoother, but that's probably because of the what I did in Photoshop.
Yeah, you went into Photoshop and I didn't.
Well, look, what I wanted to do is I wanted to just try to just smooth out her skin a little bit because there was just some texture from where the foundation makeup kind of, you know, just, I don't know. I just wanted to smooth out.
You know what? Yeah, I mean, I see the smoothing, and it looks like you left the eyes to go boom, right? You didn't smooth the eyes.
Here's what I did, is I went in and I created a duplicate layer, and I used I basically smoothed everything out.
It is more grainy, by the way.
I used the eraser tool on all of the fine details of her face, like her eyes, her eyelashes.
Yeah, people they just saw that video.
Her lips. Pardon?
They just watched that part of the video.
And I did her hair, and look, it took and this was even just a rough job. Like I didn't go crazy with it because I probably would have really finessed it if it was something that I was going to deliver to somebody. But you know, you can even see like if you look at the clarity, you know, for some reason I feel you're right. Your eyes are a little bit more grainy, or is that just me?
I don't. Yeah, yeah. I may have introduced a little more grain in there because of the. I think it's the fill light that I used.
Well, whatever the case is, like that's what I was worried about, and that's
But
maybe why mine looks a little bit flat, is because I didn't want to do anything to like make her skin look any grainier, let's say.
and don't forget though what happens when you when we're zooming in like this. This is a huge print if we were to actually do this. But yeah,
Yeah,
your eyes look smoother than these eyes on her side, and I think it's probably the fill light. But yeah, I was just going for a quick 5-minute edit type thing.
right.
And I could see spending a little bit more time and then discussing this and then sitting here and going back and forth with each other to see what we like.
Right.
But there's definitely positives to sitting here and discussing this stuff. And
Yeah, I mean, I tried to bring out a little bit more green in her eyes to go with that incredible background, because the background, you know, the background that you've created looks like a color gradient, you know, I mean, because it just goes from that lush green and then it kind of like fades down.
It's another parking lot we shot in, by the way.
And you see, this is the amazing thing. When you're shooting a long lens, you really, like, you know, we can talk about this. Just be wary of what is in the distance.
Just
you know,
give me a tree. Give me some trees, you know?
give me some trees, give me a dark space, give me something. And when you blow that out, that becomes your backdrop. And
Yep.
now you've got this beautiful girl that is popping against this really lush background, and it's nature's natural backdrop. I mean, it's just, and I love this gradient, the way it goes from like that green down to the aqua. I mean, it's just stunning, man. And the thing is, it brings out the colors in her eyes. You know, it makes her skin tones look rich. It's just a matter of seeing this. And, you know, obviously, you know, this is something that this is the thing that people don't realize. Like, you can go anywhere. You're in a parking lot. Parking lots are typically boring. They're typically gross. And look at this gorgeous image.
Yeah. Yeah, we
So-
and for all transparency, it was a parking lot of a park. But the problem was we couldn't get onto the grass because it was all flooded out. So we had to
Right.
stay on the asphalt, and that's why I broke out the 300. That's why you don't see me shooting with a 24-70, because I don't want to
Sure.
see anything else. I want to see her.
Right.
But there were some great edits that people did, and in a video that I'm going to put up separate, I'm going to call those out, show a lot of really good edits that people did, and do some just not promoting, but showing people's nice edits and talking about them and seeing the differences of what everybody sees, because everybody sees something a little bit different. And
Yeah.
that's why this is all about the discussion, because again, there is no one way to do anything. There's no right or wrong way.
Well, you know, just to touch on that really quickly, when you're shooting for yourself, when you're shooting for your portfolio, when you're shooting for clients where you've been given creative control, then in situations like this, there is absolutely no right and wrong. Obviously, you certainly maintain certain standards for yourself, and you want to adhere to them and deliver the highest quality product that you can. Interestingly, though, there are times when you are working for somebody who is a creative collaborator. You're working for an art director. You're working for somebody who might say, you know what, I'm going to edit these. You know, my department's going to edit
Yeah.
these, or I'm going to edit these. I just need you to capture this and that. You know, so there is a difference. But you know, starting with really great source material allows for those options to be possible. And I think this is a prime example of that. That's just right out of the camera. You know, this shot can go 100 different ways. So,
Sure. I didn't
you
even
know.
try black and white.
you know, I thought about black and white, but I just loved how the green in her eyes tied into the background, and I
Yeah.
just really wanted to. I'm sure black and white, this would be spectacular.
Yeah, so
And
well, you know what? We'll get ready to wrap it up, and we could talk forever, which is why we'll probably start a podcast very soon where we
yeah, just go into yours and hit the V key. Let's just see how it looks really quick, because you already punched it up. You know, let's see how that looks. I think that looks amazing. I mean, minor tweaks and like that's gorgeous. I mean, look at the sparkle in her eyes.
Yeah. I mean,
You know?
I think it loses a little bit, but I think with a little bit of tweaking from the current edit, I think it would pop really, really well.
Yeah.
So
Nice job, man.
well, thank you. Nice job on yours as always, because I'm sure I'm going to sit back and watch your video and try to learn something about editing in a little different way than I normally edit. I'm actually going to ask Gavin Hoey if he wants to edit this file and see what he would do with it in Photoshop and whatnot.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, I'd love to see what he comes up with.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give him that chance and see what he does.
Awesome.
And I can't wait till we start podcasting.
Ah, absolutely,
It's
man.
gonna be
Lots
fun.
to talk about.
Lots to talk about, and it's just enjoyable. You guys can listen to it in your car, put it on your iPads, iPods, shuffles, whatever you want. Listen to it on the computer. But hey, more information on that in the future as we get to doing it. Nice job with all of your edits. I'm going to do that showcase video, and next week we'll be back with Raw Edit 45, which will be brought to you by Drobo, and I'm not sure what file we're picking yet. I think maybe Adam will throw a file up of his one of these days.
Oh,
of a model.
There's an idea. Sure. What the heck? Why not?
Yeah, so we'll get to
something-
that. Huh?
All right. No, I was thinking like maybe something from Fashion Week or...
Yeah, that would be great. It would be really awesome to see what people come up with. So, we've talked a while. This is probably a long video, but it is what it is. Hope you guys learned something. Thanks again to Drobo for helping us week after week after week with this, and keep having fun. If you want to submit a file, make sure it's really, really, really good, or just submit anyway, and we'll pare it down. You can send it to froknowsphoto@gmail.com. Adam, thank you again.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And we will see all of you next week with the Raw Edit 45. Jared Poland, froknowsphoto.com. See ya!